What is a bridge? Not the kind that goes over something, you idiot, the bridge of a song. The part where everything changes, usually before the final chorus and after an instrumental solo, but the definition is fairly fluid. It's absolutely one of the most important parts of a song. It can contrast or complement the piece as a whole, it can introduce new musical elements, and it makes the listening experience so much more enjoyable. These are all things a good bridge can do, and of course, not all bridges are created equal. For this reason, I've taken it up as my mission to analyze bridges in songs, because of course my opinion is superior to all others, and because there's a million better things I could be doing but don't want to. Keep in mind that my definition of bridge might be different from what is typically considered a bridge, but I don't really care, so let's build some goddamn bridges, baby. So I'd figured I'd do the Gorillaz self-titled album as sort of a starting point, not only because I love Gorillaz and want to cover their entire catalog in the future, but because I think this group has probably some of the best bridges I can think of, worst being a whole nother story. So without further ado, let's jump in. Also, just a warning, I think for copyright reasons, I cannot upload the actual bridges of a song onto this video, so you'll have to basically watch them alongside, but I am going to provide time links and stuff, so no worries, just makes it slightly less convenient. Talk about underrated songs to start things off. Rehash is an untuned, repetitive, but criminally catchy album opener, featuring a guitar loop and lo-fi beat for like 90% of the instrumental. This song's bridge comes about 2 minutes and 15 seconds in, when the bored, dreary-sounding chorus, and I mean that in a good way, gives way to 45 seconds of something genuinely fun-sounding. A synth comes on, tinkling away in the background as the guitar/drum loops continue for a bit, before dropping off to what sounds like a playground. It's odd, but it's a nice relief, and with a couple record scratches, we get right back into the chorus, dismal as ever. I say that and it sounds like a bad thing, but I actually really like this bridge. It provides levity to what might otherwise be a kind of muddy song, providing a sweet release to all the tension built up in the rest of the project. That said, I find I have a hard time talking about this one, but that's mostly because it's one of the less notable bridges in the Gorillaz discography. That said, I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. It's fun, sounds fun, and you can't really ask much else of it. 5-4 is another genuine banger on an album full of them. It's more punky than most other songs Gorillaz makes, with bucket loads of distortion and guitar to leave quite a heavy impression, but most of the song sounds like a fairly standard song in that vein. But then 2 minutes in, the entire feel changes. No longer is this a lighthearted song about a flirtatious ex, it's much darker. Just listen to the way Tootie says, "She made me kill myself" here. It's the tone of voice someone who has something very heavy to say has, and it's immediately reflected in the music. Everything cuts out for this one line, which, by the way, is a particular songwriting trick I'm very partial to, before kicking in with less melody and infinitely more bass and distortion. For a few seconds, this song lets its facade fall. This isn't a happy or quirky or lighthearted song. It's almost terrifying how well the entire mood changes so quickly before jumping back in with almost no changes. But even then, we can't quite escape, just like one would never escape the lingering feelings of inadequacy or pain that a toxic relationship would leave. The bass remains. It may be a very short one, but I absolutely love this bridge, and for that, it gets a 9 out of 10. This song has no bridge, which is fine. It just means it won't factor into the overall judgment of the album's bridges. Keep in mind, this is not a condemnation of the song. I absolutely love Tomorrow Comes Today, it just doesn't have a bridge. In fact, neither does New Genius, or Clint Eastwood, or Man Research, or Punk. Interestingly, with Punk, Genius calls these little post-chorus bits bridges, but I don't think they are. They don't change the song, they don't offer anything contrary to what we've heard so far. They're just parts of the song which I feel the need to once again defend by saying I have no problem with these. They're just not bridges, goddammit. Luckily, our bridgeless streak ends with one of the most underrated songs on this already underrated album. Soundcheck Gravity is really goddamn good. It ranges the ups and downs of life from a slow start on a quiet night to a chaotic blend of record scratches and noise. But enough about the song, let's talk about the bridge. And the one on this song is a little interesting because it is, to put it in a way that sounds maybe a little dismissive, a reskin of the first verse. We're back to the quiet, gentle night just 3 minutes later, and after going on a trip through Loudland, but things are slightly different. The violins in the background keep the rhythm going, and before too long, we go back into the meat of the song. The intro and bridge sound a lot more innocent than the rest of the song, and I do think it's on purpose. The mental image here, at least for me, is one of 2D sitting outside, looking up at the stars, playing a guitar, and singing a love song to gravity, the one unerring force that holds the universe together. Sounds a little artistic when you put it like that, huh? And this bridge does something very cool. It solidifies the mental landscape of the track, while simultaneously providing release from the relative intensity of the song so far, and for that, it gets a 7 out of 10 from me. This song is very interesting and another underrated gem off of this album full of such. It's a trancy, topsy-turvy ride through a sort of mesmerizing auditory wonderland, one that I can't really think of any other Gorillaz songs having. That said, I think the bridge might be the most memorable part of this song, and if you take a listen, you'll understand why. 2 minutes and 51 seconds in, everything falls silent, and Damon Albarn, not 2D, and yes, there is a distinction between the two,
all of which makes me anxious, at times unbearably so.
And immediately back into the swing of things. This bridge explains the entire song in my eyes. Double bass is a trip through the mind of Albarn, who at this stage in Gorillaz maybe wasn't the most mentally healthy dude. But he knows this. Many of the songs off ST were about his various issues, and he's able to share what it feels like. Tell me you don't listen to double bass and feel vaguely claustrophobic or stressed or anxious. That's just the way it be. 8 out of 10. And we're back to bridgeless songs for Rock the House, 19-2000, and Que Pasa Contigo, but then... This song is probably the most forgotten track on his first album, and maybe I can see why. It's a bit loop-heavy, and one of the weirder tracks on here, along with double bass and man research, but I like it a lot. And I know I say that about literally every song, but honestly, I don't think there's a single Gorillaz song I don't like on some level. Anyway, this bridge, like this song, is a little unconventional. For the sparse choruses, 2D sinks in his signature raspy falsetto, but this bridge is deeper, different, a bit more concrete. It's still 2D singing, unlike in double bass, but 1 minute and 50 seconds into this song, we get a little more clarification on the song's feel and the character of 2D in general. He's trying to stand easy with himself and jump out of a deep, claustrophobic unhappiness. Will he succeed? Well, who knows, but we still got 2 songs to find out. He's finally recognized his weakness, and he's finding his way out of it. From a musical level, this bridge doesn't sound that different from the rest of the song. In fact, I kind of debated whether or not it even counts as a bridge, or more of a verse. But I think the way it clarifies the song's message and evokes a new emotion, one of trepidation and hope, works quite well and definitely makes it a bridge. 6 out of 10. This song is a ray of sunshine on what is an otherwise fairly dark and moody album. This is 2D's gradual escape from the darkness of his previous sadness, and you can feel that sense of relief and hope everywhere. It's his high point. From the instrumentation, to the lyrics, to the chiptune breaks, and though it is assuredly nice to listen to, the bridge is kind of just a continuation of that. I feel like this is a representation of 2D's newfound bliss and his weird, kind of scatting, singing thing, and that's fun, but it doesn't add that much to the song in my opinion. This is another one that could also be considered more of an instrumental or a breakdown more than anything, but nah, it's a bridge. 5 out of 10. And sadly, the last track on the album, M1A1, has no bridge to speak of. I will just say though, with its extended intro kind of building up into an explosion of noise and energy, this is probably one of the hypest songs I've ever heard. It's definitely up there with The Wolf by Siamese or Bombs Over Brooklyn. This first Gorillaz album doesn't actually have that many proper bridges in its songs. This makes sense given how experimental the album is in general, and a lot of the songs don't follow normal strong structure in any case, but it makes my job just a little harder. That said, I'm excited for the future. I know for a fact Demon Days has a lot of bridges, and I also intend to not just do Gorillaz albums, maybe branch out a bit. I'm kind of an idiot, and I also very rarely give things bad scores, but I'm definitely excited to continue doing this, and I hope you are too. Woohoo, see y'all later.